Hi, team. So, what is an emergency fund? Well, first, let me tell you what an emergency fund is not. An emergency fund is not when you get to the end of the month and you want to go out to eat and there's nothing left in the budget. So you think, well, I'll just dip into my emergency fund and then go out for supper. That's not an emergency. An emergency fund is not when you're like, oh, well, let's take a vacation and let's use our emergency fund. No, that's not what an emergency fund is for. So, what is an emergency fund for? An emergency fund is for emergencies. An emergency fund is when your tire blows out on the highway and you have to call a tow truck and you have to get your tire fixed. And you have no extra room in your budget. That's what an emergency fund is for. An emergency fund is for when you lose your job and you have to cover your bills. That's what an emergency fund is for. An emergency fund is not for luxury items or luxury things. An emergency fund are strictly for when emergencies happen. Now, this being said, when you're out of debt, I actually encourage you to have an emergency fund / opportunity fund. So that's actually split into two categories so that you can take advantage of luxury things as they come along and you want to take advantage of them. But you still have an emergency fund. So I encourage you to have 6 months of emergency / opportunity fund. You get to decide how much is for emergency and how much is for opportunities. But let's just say it was split down the middle, 50-50. 3 months for emergencies, 3 months for opportunity funds. 3 months of emergencies are only for emergencies only. Not for buying luxury, not for taking vacations, not for going out to eat when you have nothing left in your budget. That is not what an emergency fund is for. Your opportunity fund, on the other hand, is meant for you to be spontaneous. It's meant for you to be given the freedom to say, oh, you know what? I actually want to give there, but I don't have any money left in my budget, so I'm going to use my opportunity fund and give them some money. I'm going to give to that cause. I'm going to take that spontaneous vacation that just happened to line up perfectly and we weren't preparing for it because we couldn't prepare for it. That's what you use the opportunity fund for. But do not get these two mixed up. Keep them separate. Keep going, keep winning. Cheering for you.